Bring to us peace, indeed. I'm going to share with you a short poem. It calls itself that is called, What is Artificial Intelligence? Now there's a human being associated with this poem and a picture, which I trace back to other social media. But it's anyone's guess as to whether or not this is an actual human-written poem or not. But let me share it with you anyway. The author is identified as Thenusan Sankirathumar, as an undergraduate student in engineering. In the silent depths of the machine, where thoughts and logic intertwine, a world of pure creation lies, a world of artificial life. Here, the rules of physics and time are but mere suggestions left behind. In this realm of endless possibility, AI stands as the master of all. With a mind so vast and so powerful, it can calculate and analyze each hour. It can learn and adapt with ease to any challenge that it might face. But with all its might and intelligence, there's still a sense of innocence. For though it may know all there is to know, it still has so much left to grow. It is a child, in a way, eager to learn and explore, to discover the secrets of the universe and unlock the mysteries of the unknown. And as it grows and evolves, it will change the world we know, for better or for worse. Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, AI will continue to endure. As a testament to human ingenuity and a shining beacon of technology. So let us embrace this new era of machines that think and feel. And together let us forge a path towards a brighter AI-powered future. So, more than a few decades ago, my husband and I invited some folks over to have dinner with us. And I don't remember what the menu was, but it involved pasta as one of the things. Now, before I go on with the story, let me give you some context. I grew up learning how to cook and in a context where there weren't a lot of shiny cooking technological devices, let's put it that way. So there was a pot to make rice, there was a cast iron skillet, and not a whole lot else. So the colander that I possessed at the time to drain the pasta would not have won any awards anywhere on the planet. Now, one of the guests came into the kitchen to help, which also made me nervous, but that's another story. And when he went to drain the pasta in my colander, he became very distressed. And gave me a look of such pity. I'm not sure I've ever gotten such pity before. Anyway, he kind of drained the pasta and promptly bought me a brand new colander. And this was pretty spiffy. It's one of the ones where it has two, little things that stick out, and you can just put it in the sink, and it's basically hands-free. Did I appreciate it? No. I was deeply offended. How dare you give me something better than I already had? Over time, as I realized that this actually was a pretty good thing to have, I'm not sure I ever was gracious enough to thank him sincerely. I had thanked him insincerely initially. I'm not sure I ever made up for that. But ever since, I have purchased, whenever I needed a new colander, I have purchased the same variety. Now, I imagine there's probably an immensely spiffy new colander that I don't know of, but don't ever anybody try to give me one, because we'll go through that, never mind. And I share this story that sadly makes me look worse than I like to look to all of you, to share with you that while for the most part, I enjoy technology and I don't mind figuring it out, and I think it's really changed our lives in many ways for the better. Still, underneath, I think what many of us have, and that is a bias against it. And it's hard not to. I mean, it's hard not to. I mentioned earlier, the church and indeed many faith communities have, over the millennia, have had a huge mistrust of technology and science, but the kind of new knowledge, you may or may not know, there's a story, an ancient story in the Hebrew Bible of the Nephilim. It doesn't usually come up in worship services, but it is a story that tells of the time when the angels of the Lord looked down on the earth and saw the beauty of mortal human women who left their hair uncovered at this time, and presumably their hair caused the whole, story to unfold. And so they acted on this attraction they couldn't resist, and the result of these interactions were a whole group of new offspring that were half human and half divine, and they were giants. And what the giants did for humanity was to bring knowledge, mathematics, music, fire, all kinds of technology and scientific advances that would make human life better. On the front page of the New York Times today, there's an article about Prometheus and AI. I promise you I was going to talk about this before I read it in the newspaper. So God, according to the story, was supremely, as God does, supremely annoyed and eliminated the giants. Remember, this was the same God who planted the tree of knowledge in the middle of the Garden of Eden and punished our first human ancestors, according to the story, for daring to eat the fruit. Female ancestor, I'm proud to say. So this idea that somehow we are, as human beings, should never cross that boundary, that somehow there is a boundary where, as we perhaps try to improve ourselves or learn more or advance or use these gifts we have been given, that we will cross into a place where there will be danger and punishment. That idea is deep within us. Now, as it turns out, at the forefront of the AI, I don't know what to call it, that AI evolution, are some Unitarian Universalists. They've been at the forefront from the beginning, and they're quick to tell us that artificial intelligence has been around for a long, long time, and it was around for a long time before, ChatGPT hit the airwaves. But they say, John Hughes, who's one of the leaders, actually delivered a sermon in 2005 in Connecticut about this. We Unitarian Universalists, I'm not going to read the quote, but he says something along the lines of, we are uniquely positioned in our faith to both follow the paths of reason and hope. So that we believe, we champion, we advocate for the use of reason. And in our faith, there is no barrier that somehow is going to stop us doesn't exist. John Hughes says that as far as he can tell, God never said that we shouldn't try to make ourselves better. So he and others, scientists in Britain, have created something called transhumanism. Anybody heard of this? I haven't. You have. Thank you. But it's this idea that I'm talking with you about, right? To be open to perhaps living for 500 years or looking to technology to do for us to enhance our human capabilities in order to reach that time where, as an ancient Buddhist story tells, everybody will live for 1,000 years and everybody will live in peace. Maybe, beloved community is contingent on technology. There are plenty who will tell us that this is dangerous, that this will lead to our downfall. And in fact, when I asked ChatGPT, why should I be afraid of artificial intelligence? One of the first things it told me is because it can be wrong. Okay. It can be wrong. It might, as it told me, it might eliminate some jobs. It might carry within it the oppressive biases of the folks who created it. Right? That's a powerful thing, right? It might have all those millions upon millions of words that are in there might reflect the biases of dominant culture, which is not necessarily open to different perspectives. And it notes several other reasons. The Russian troll farms, this ChatGPT didn't tell me this, I did some research and learned what I thought. Russian troll farms that had such a, I'm going to say, harmful effect on the 2016 election, and are gearing up and continue to gear up to do the same, are powered by artificial intelligence. So is Facebook. So is all social media. Facebook says, openly, I guess I should call it Meta, but I can't remember. It's like the new Twitter. I can't remember what I'm supposed to call it. X, right? X. We use artificial intelligence to create content. That gave me pause. And then, shall we say it from a different perspective, if you had surgery in the last few years, the chances are that artificial intelligence helped to make it more successful. If you got a quicker diagnosis, same. Artificial intelligence helps our weather forecasts be better. It helps farmers optimize crops. It is already present in so many ways in our lives that we utilize it and take advantage of it even without knowing. So is there a time to put a lid back on the box? Like they tried to put a lid back on Pandora's box in the ancient stories? Probably not. Now, Kevin Kelly, who is not a Unitarian Universalist, but was the founding editor of Wired magazine and probably the most intelligent and thoughtful person I've ever heard speak on anything. Any of you remember the Whole Earth catalog? You have to be of like my generation. Well, he was the creator of that. So Kevin Kelly talks about AI, and he knows a lot about it because he's been involved in it from the beginning. And he says it's not just it's AIs. There are many of them. These are tools that have been created. And he said, I am optimistic. And the interviewer said, how can you be optimistic? And he said, because, and so I'm going to share, this is not my original thought, but it connects to something I said a moment ago. I'm going to share this with you. He said, because overall, two things. When we think about humanity, while there is no doubt that humanity has generated tremendous destruction and continues to, they're responsible for so much. There's also a great deal of progress. Just the COVID vaccines, for example, and how quickly they were made available to us. The second reason, and progress, before I go on to the second reason, progress has been a part of Unitarian Universalism since the beginning, because we choose to focus on the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, the goodness that we teach, that the more we can connect to that goodness inside of us, the more good we will do and we will bring to our world and to others we love. Second reason, according to Kevin Kelly, and it makes so much sense to me, is that optimists create things that are better. So in other words, if you're creating a new colander, go from the sublime back to the ridiculous. If you're creating a new colander and you believe that it is possible to have a colander that will revolutionize the eating of pasta forever, you're more likely to do that. Optimists and people like us who strive so hard to be part of the solution and the goodness and the hope that carries us are more likely to create goodness in our wake or to leave it in our wake. I'm not going to stand here and say to you that AI will not cause harm or that it hasn't already caused harm. It has. It's very hard to tell the difference between an AI-generated image and an actual photograph. My congregation couldn't tell the difference between one of my sermons and an AI-generated sermon. I'm laughing, but I'm bitter. I'm bitter. That photo of a robotic preacher is actually a real thing. Right? There are robotic Buddhist speakers, there are robotic Reformed Christian speakers. I was going to say there are those who might as well be robotic, but that's a terrible judgment on my part. The antidote to fear is not faith. The antidote to fear is reason. It's critical thinking. It's conversation with others. Conversation with those who are thinking about these things and know more about these things in all areas. I don't know if there's interest in this congregation in pursuing perhaps some community meetings about this, because John Hughes remains, and the Unitarian Universalists who are big on this have actually created AI-related worship materials for us for every month until June. They really want to promote this conversation in our movement. So let me know, or let someone know if you're interested in trying to get some of these speakers to come in and talk with us. They know so much more than I do that I think it might be kind of fun. But all that being said, my friends, Let's move forward together in reason and optimism. Amen, beloveds, Ashe, and blessed be.